I don't understand why the team is missing liquidity and ADEX is the real problem. Missing liquidity is missing demand. Second problem is no use case in ADEX. I had mentioned, that it will have a use case in ADEX. It's currently the one thing that we're working on, where it will provide a much more preferential fee rate. And with liquidity, there's a couple factors here. So liquidity is getting people put their coins on the exchange and trade. Uh, so, there definitely needs to be incentive, to do such. One of those incentives is the form of an LP fee, which ties into some of the changes that we are making. That would be the ACO swaps. I didn't mention in this presentation, but if you um, have heard some of my talks over the past year or so, um, that will essentially provide a way to for the taker to essentially reward for getting into a trade. The second point of that is that the Atomic Dex, even though it's very fleshed out, it's still not quite there yet where we need it to be for a full-on mass push. There's definitely a few issues that need to be taken into consideration. We don't want to push a product that um, you know will have issues and cause people to turn away from it. That tends to be a problem. It's easier to get a new person than it is to uh, convince somebody who left to come back. In the fiat integration is coming. I know that is currently being worked on by P2Y and I believe Tony also. Um, So this is not an either or type of thing. This just is the first of many different um, changes that we have planned and different features and stuff to add. Um, and like Audio said, it's a combination of things. One is that it's a easy code change. Two, we have a hard fork coming up, and this is a code change that will require a hard fork. Um, so that is kind of why it came so uh, so quickly. What's with the other changes? Like, okay, so with the why it's taking so long? I mean, part of that is with a provider. The other part is getting the structure um, in our own team and stuff to be able to handle more the business end on that. But it is 100% coming. It's just taking a little bit longer than we expected. From Delta Zulu, what is the take on team for consensus change? What do they want it to be voted on? Um, so with the consensus changed, like I mentioned in the presentation, there would be an option for proof of stake, proof of work, keeping our current system the same, keeping our current system mostly the same and just reducing the block reward or switching to a masternode like architecture. Uh, Next question here. What do we do with Binance holding 30% supply in case we switch to proof of stake and masternodes? So on the masternode side, one of the things we've been looking at to implement a one person per masternode uh, type of system would be Claros and their proof of humanity application. Um, so this would require identity and in part that severely limits people from taking advantage of uh, the system. Now, could Binance get all of its employees to register and then run everything on its behalf? I guess technically, but is that likely? Probably not. So, in regards to proof of stake, like it is hard to exclude certain holders for stuff, especially in aspects of the system that are meant to be kind of open. So in regards to proof of stake, um, we will have to decide on what's the best mechanism. This might be, delegated proof of stake might be a way of preventing them from, you know, uh, essentially taking over the network with their large supply. But this is something to be upon by the community. Let's see here. What happened with the JL777 assets like Dexter SuperNet? They're currently still around. We're figuring out what the best way forward with that is. We'll be presenting something to James soon. He'll go thumbs up or thumbs down. And from that, we'll either go forward or go back to the drawing board. Fund SuperNet, they're held by James. It was James' asset before Komodo was ever existing. Why not use claimed activities reward for rewards for swaps on the DEX? So this was actually, I brought this up about a week ago. I believe it was Agnew Pickens who brought up this kind of idea. And the issue ends up being is that a swap is it's just a page script type of transaction, and it's really no way to differentiate the different types. Like so you can have a page script transaction. It's not a swap. It kind of creates a loophole for that. So doing it directly, it isn't really. I mean, it could be done, but like I said, there's loopholes. And then paying out people, if we were to do it directly, that ends up becoming a massive, nightmare in terms of, if you pay out a certain amount to people, then you have to give them forms. There's tax stuff and all that. So we're trying to find the best way of rewarding people where we do not have a direct hand in actually doing the payments out. Does Komodo core investors pay? I'm sure for the AUR definitely helps mitigate some costs. However, we do have quite a large war chest and are able to keep funding. Additionally, we have works coming in through coin integrations, through white label wallets and such that also help fund our efforts. Why is it happening before? Komodo's utility and purpose. It seems like taking away the benefit of holding Komodo without having the buffer for at least Komodo demand. And yeah, this is a valid point. However, the purpose of doing it first is that so that the demand efforts will be more effective. You know, like to give you an example with the DEX fee burning, a portion of the DEX fee being burned. If that portion, if it's only burning out of 500,000 new coins produced versus out of millions, it's just simple basic math. So there's the more that we can reduce, the greater our efforts to demand efforts will be. Let's see. There's 6.2 million coins being produced. Okay, and let's go for that. The top 1,000 wallets are 99 some percent of the coin supply. And I wrote an argument out yesterday. Think about if even 10% dropped. How much fiat influx that actually needs to to overcome that yearly sell pressure. It's say that's 400 some thousand coins if it's even just 10%. And it's actually, the number is greater than that because miners obviously do not have the same low cost basis as AUR produced coins. So there is quite a substantial sell pressure that is in excess of 1 million coins. So reducing this as much as possible, it definitely has a long-term, positive effect.
Hey, welcome, okay, Wizard, to the stage. You can ask your question or make a comment.
Will a proof of stake switch to mastery node? enable people who were dependent on the active user reward of 5% to expect about the same in staking rewards or returns?
So the plan is, so they wouldn't in terms of percentage, because the plan is to use a flat reward and then divide between the stakers slash in the master nodes. So it would not be, it's not a switch to 5% through staking or 5% through the master nodes. Because like I've been trying to highlight is that if you make millions of coins produced, it doesn't matter which way they're produced, they got to be sold if you want to raise price, or they'll be sold on market for lower than market price, which then lowers everybody's coins price. So it's kind of a hard decision, but I would say proposing going forward, I would think it would be a flat reward with it being split out between the two parties and not just switching over the 5% to a different system.
What baseline does the Komodo team propose for the proof of stake mastery node swap? Like, do you base on a template that already exists in the market, or are you going for something new?
So we'll probably base off some sort of template that's already existing. However, what that exactly is, this is something that the community can help decide. There's a couple back and forths going on about the different proof of stake mechanisms. I know somebody suggested Ouroboros from Cardano, and others just use the Cosmos style. DPoS. We can make our own DPoS for UTXO, kind of like a SIG chain. I want to say Qtum is like that. We could use basic POS. I mean, kind of open to the exact specifics of like how the POS system will work. So we're definitely taking any community insight. If they have one system they prefer over another, or if we don't hear anything otherwise, we can choose it. The best system that will mitigate the most potential problems, such as centralization.
In part 2 of your proposal, on the 3 options that matter, what is the estimated the ETA to implement, to develop and implement the proposed solutions?
So proposal 2, the consensus changes, would be we would like to have them launch the 2024 hard fork. With the AUR proposal, that would be this upcoming 2023 hard fork. So we have some time to figure out the specifics of a new consensus mechanism. Because it's a little over a year away at this point.
Will there be follow-up community proposals if on part 2 a proposal to switch over proof of stake with or without masternodes is voted?
Yes, yeah, we like part of with this whole tokenomics revolution is to really kick off these, having more of these types of events, hearing people's proposals and getting them, kind of push forward in the community and have an open discussion as such. So yes, this is just the beginning of a new push into community-led proposal type of system, and as we have access to more technology, specifically through the KMD Cosmos chain, we can then integrate things that will give us the tool set to be able to have a better style of governance. So it's not as chaotic as this current proposal.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for the presentation. That'd be all my questions.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, if anyone comes up with anything, later on, I'm always around. So don't be scared to ask anything. Okay, so there's a couple others here. How will the bridge to the Cosmos chain work? So multi-signature contra bridge keeper with single transactions on KMD is very similar to that. We'll, Kadan will be going over exact specifics on the technical side, but the main point about the bridging is that it's unidirectional. So you're not going to be able to go back from the KMD Cosmos to the KMD UTXO chain. I mean, you can atomic swap with somebody who has it already, of course, but you won't be able to bridge back, so to speak. So this then, kind of segments the coins and actually can create a market between the two as well. So, still in contact with JL777. What is he thinking about it? JL777 has posted, some basic thoughts, about the logic behind this AU active user reward reduction. However, as common with James is that he's leaving it for the community to decide.
Polly, did we already cover this question from LB Digit? He's asking about why not use the claim rewards for swaps, so like sort of reward when you make a swap. Like, do you know if that's possible? Because that seems like an interesting proposal.
Yes, I addressed that a little bit ago, but just to go over it real quickly again, the issue is how do you differentiate a atomic swap pay-to-script transaction from just a pay-to-script transaction to a multi-sig. So we would have to figure that out specifically to do so. If we were to go to try to do that mechanism, but as far as I know, there's really no clear, easy way to separate the two. So you wouldn't necessarily have the guarantee that you're rewarding a swap. And somebody like Binance could just keep sending it to, just a multi-sig they control and not actually swap.
Now, there's been so many questions, and I'm not sure if you have missed any. I think Polly has done a pretty good job. So please put your question there again if you have missed a question, and ask it again so it comes to the chat as the latest question.
So what about burning Komodo like ETH does with every transaction? That is definitely a possibility, and it is something that we can discuss during the consensus proposal changes. As I mentioned in my presentation, that is the idea for the KMD Cosmos chain already. We could also do it with the KMD UTXO chain. We just have to weigh out the pros and cons of that. So the community votes keep the active user reward. Well, I mean, the second proposal will still, be going on. Nothing so much changes. We will keep pushing forward. I have discussed at least a small high-level overview of the strategy change with the wallet-first approach. We will still be continuing forward. It's just, the efforts for our demand side. Our demand side efforts will be severely curtailed by the active user reward. So it's just letting kind of people know it all comes down. It's easier to sell 500,000 coins or 6 million coins. It's kind of obvious. So no matter which way things go, we're always going to be continuing to work on the project. We'll just have to take advantage of the system as the way it is decided upon by the community.
Yeah, I want to explain my view on this whole thing, like how I think we should be viewing this, and this might help you guys to pick yes or no vote. So one way to look at this is if you're just looking on how do we talk about KMD, how do we market it, and if you vote yes or if you vote no, that leads to two different end outcomes. So if you remove the active user reward, then the message would be something like KMD is deflationary, it's going down in supply, there's no inflation, and this could be a great message in the world we live today, where there's a lot of inflation, and then you'll be able to tell people that, well, there's no inflation in KMD. So that's like the option one. Option two is to keep the active user reward, in which case we would keep the same message we have today, which is that when you have KMD, then you get the active user reward. So it kind of maybe depends. You can think which one you think is better long term in terms of marketing. So that could be like the marketing angle for this vote. But then there's other angles you can look at it from. But if you purely look at it from marketing angle, then those are the two choices we have. Yeah, so Ragnar is questioning that whatever there actually would be 6 million coins selling. So of course it's true that when there's rewards, like they don't immediately go to an exchange and get dumped. But I guess if you look at it from long enough time horizon, then we can say that the supply increases, then in theory then the price must go down that much, everything else being equal. So yes, there's some truth there. So what's your take on this, Polly?
I mean, yeah, like, and that's, you kind of highlight the point. It's about looking at this through, a long-term perspective. And, if the momentum of the coin isn't what, people want, it doesn't really matter if they're holding the coin off the market now. It's still, it still has a high probability of eventually hitting that market. So why reduce it to 0.01%? There's a couple of reasons. So one of the main ones is that, the sarcasm there. Okay. Well, one of the main reasons is still keeping transaction fees, a way of mitigating those costs for the individual users for participating in the network.
All right, I think we will be approaching the end soon, so time for the last few questions. We can certainly make another community Q&A. I'm speaking with P2I and CA that we would make one on Twitter Spaces. That is still to be decided when it will happen, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, send your last questions to Pauli.
Yep, always around, so just either DM or drop them in a channel and tag me, and I'll try to get to them as soon as I can. Yeah, thanks everyone for coming as well. Hopefully we're going to have a bunch more of these types of meetings in the future about a bunch of different topics, but I think this is kind of a good way of getting people starting to really get involved into the community and such, and actually have a say over the future direction of Komodo. Pretty much a lot of us, especially the old timers and stuff, it's kind of how we got on. It's just we had ideas and we were proposed forward. We had to discuss them. We put in the efforts of building them. We really want to keep that trend going. It's kind of faded away over the past couple years, but hopefully this gets people more involved and inspires people to to start building on their own, and to also become a more to increase Komodo civics and to get people more interest in our projects on a personal level. So yeah, thanks everyone for your time. I will see you guys all around. Ciao.